Explaining the book. Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before? By Dr. Julie Smith in an informative narrative style. It's as if you're reading it as a profound and enjoyable essay on psychological development. Comprehensive. Introduction. In a world where psychological stress is on the rise and there's a lot of talk about productivity and success, few voices are emerging that care about what's happening inside us. Pain, distraction, anxiety, sadness, loss of passion. Dr. Julie Smith has created this book as a gentle and scientific guide. It contains within its pages the most important psychological skills people usually learn in clinics. But here she presents them to us as direct, practical tools without complexity or theorizing. You don't need to be in a crisis to read this book. Rather, it's a friend who accompanies you before, during, and after a fall. Chapter 1. When You Fall. How to deal with a psychological breakdown. Dr. Julie begins in a very humane manner. She doesn't make you feel like you're alone in your suffering. She says, sometimes we don't know we're drowning until we're actually drowning. Here she begins to talk about depression. Not just as a medical diagnosis, but as a human experience that many people live with in silence, without naming it. Key takeaways. Depression isn't a sign of weakness. Sometimes it's a healthy response to unhealthy circumstances. Negative thoughts aren't reality. You are not what you think in your worst moments. Your body and mind are connected. Even simple steps, like getting out of bed or making your bed, have a huge impact. Golden tip. If you can't get better, just try to move. Movement generates motivation, not the other way around. Chapter 2. Motivation and motivation. Don't wait for it, create it. Here the author debunks the common myth. I don't get started because I'm unmotivated. But the truth? Motivation doesn't come before action, but after. Keys to this chapter. Don't wait to feel like taking action. Start with a very small step, even if it's silly, like open the computer, write down the task title, just wear your workout clothes. The brain doesn't like the unknown. Break your tasks down into clear, small, manageable chunks. Motivation builds with accumulation, like a fire that starts with a spark. The 5-minute rule. Tell yourself, I'll do this for just 5 minutes. Often you'll complete more than that once you get started. Chapter 3. Slow progress is still progress. We live in a culture of speed, wanting instant results. But Julie reminds us, psychological change is like plant growth. You don't see it every day, but you'll reap the rewards later. Key ideas. Success doesn't mean perfection. One small step every day is better than one huge step once a year. Forgive yourself for backsliding. That's normal. Temporary regression doesn't undo progress. Real-life example. If you commit to exercising for a week and then stop, don't consider yourself a failure. You're doing something new, and failure is part of learning. Chapter 4. Thoughts are not commands. This is one of the most powerful chapters. We often think that everything that goes on in our minds is true. But the truth? Your mind is a thinking machine, not a reality machine. I'm a failure. No one likes me. There's no point in trying. These are all just thoughts. They're not necessarily facts. What's the solution? Learn to observe your thoughts, not engage with them. Practical exercise. 1. Write down a disturbing thought. 2. Ask yourself, do I have solid evidence for it? 3. What's the counter evidence? 4. What's the alternative explanation? This way you deconstruct its power and understand that it's just a passing fad. Chapter 5. Anxiety living in the future. Anxiety isn't something to be resisted, but rather understood. Julie says, anxiety tells you there's something you're afraid of losing or failing. Anxiety isn't an enemy. It's like a scared child who needs to be held, not yelled at. Coping methods. Slow breathing exercises. The 5 senses technique. What do I see, hear, smell, touch, taste, writing? Write down everything that worries you without filtering. Key idea. Anxiety isn't solved by overthinking, but by action and real experience. Chapter 6. Stress, the silent enemy. Here she talks about the stress we don't feel because it's normalized. Some stress is beneficial, but constant stress saps your energy without you even noticing. The solution? Not to completely escape, but to create a daily space for rest. A simple stress relief routine. 1. 10 minutes of silence or meditation daily. Or 2. Physical activity, however small. 3. Cut out digital screen time. 4. Talk to someone you feel comfortable with. Chapter 7. Mental resilience, breaking without breaking down. This is one of the most beautiful chapters because it redefines strength. Strong is not the one who doesn't hurt, but the one who gets back up after falling. How do you cultivate this resilience? By focusing only on what you can control. By asking constructive questions instead of pessimism. By learning to see failure as a lesson, not a disaster. Key secret. A resilient person doesn't face life alone. They know when to ask for help. Chapter 8. Self-esteem. Seeing yourself through a fairer lens. People think self-esteem means being always too confident. But Julie explains that it means knowing your worth even when you fail. Loving yourself despite your flaws. Refusing to be offended because you deserve better. Simple exercises. Talk to yourself like you would to a close friend. Observe your inner dialogue. Are you cruel or compassionate? Write down your daily accomplishments, no matter how small. Chapter 9. Habits. The structure of psychological life. Habits not only shape you physically, but psychologically as well. What you do each day shapes how you feel about yourself. Habits are not built by enthusiasm, but by consistency. Make the difficulty less and the temptation greater. Example. If you want to start a daily reading, put the book close to your bed and start with just one page. Chapter 10. Pain and loss. Grieving properly. Grief should not be repressed. Loss is painful, and the only cure for it is to fully experience it. Don't be afraid to cry. Don't rush your recovery. Don't force yourself to be optimistic. Grief doesn't go away. It just changes shape over time. Chapter 11. Relationships, the mirror of our souls. Our relationships determine much of our inner peace. A healthy relationship supports you, not drains you. Keywords. Clear communication, respecting boundaries, mutual support. Avoid emotional manipulation, constant belittlement, neglect and neglect. Final chapter. Courage, being real. Being vulnerable doesn't mean you're not brave. In fact, it's the highest form of courage. Showing up as you are, without masks. Ask for help when needed. Share your concerns with your loved ones. Don't be ashamed to say, "I'm not okay." Overall conclusion. This book doesn't promise to solve your problems overnight, but it does teach you how to be closer to yourself, more compassionate, and stronger in the face of life. It's as if the author is holding your hand and saying, "You are not alone and there are tools you can learn. Your life deserves to be understood and cared for."